boom, 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 boom. Hey there, friendlies. How's up? This is the 15th of July, and this is a completely unplanned live stream at like at least a solid 2 hours before I usually go on. Um, I'm supposed to be starting my karate class in 2 minutes. Cody and I take a karate class together. She's feeling very under the weather. So keeping her home, uh, letting her go to bed, just sort of relax a bit. And so I figured I would take that hour to see who's on, who's around, who wants to, keep me company. I'm only going to be on for like an hour or maybe even less. I don't know. Don't know how long I'm going to be on. I don't have anything planned either, like discussion wise or anything. But here I am. Let's see, there's already someone on with me. Who is that? I don't even have a beer. I didn't plan this. I just sort of like hour free, no karate tonight. Let's do it. I wonder if last night's live stream was very interesting to me because the premise for last night's live stream was tell me about your outdoorsy bucket list items, whether those are in fact items or experiences or whatever. And there was some really interesting stuff that came up both in the side chat and on screen with the people who popped on to chat. It's easy to forget that we're all so bloody unique and we all have such completely different desires and stuff roiling around inside of us. So I found it very very interesting, and it ended up being a very good conversation because I had a bunch of people on, two of whom had never actually been on screen on my live streams before. So yeah, that was great. That was amazing. Aside from that, right now it is very bloody hot. Hey, Jonathan, how's it going, Jonathan? I'm in fact going to say you can type hi because there's only like two of us around right now. One thing I do like about the smaller live streams is that I actually have time to sort of stay on top of what happens in the side chat. Oh, you missed last night, Jonathan. Last night was really good. It was better than I had. It's funny because what I'm about to say has become true of every week. Last night was so much better than I thought it was going to be. I feel that the live streams, the planned Tuesday night live streams, are really sort of, there's a real swing happening to them now, and I'm really happy with where they're going. Did you have anything special going on last night? I mean, not that you have to be here every Tuesday or anything, but anything cool to talk about? Or was it just sort of a, gotta relax kind of night? Tea's a good drink. Hey, Lakes. Oh no, Lakes, what happened? What got canceled this year? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. Hey, Fox. How's it going? It's too bad that got canceled for this year, but yeah, you're right. You can. There's always next year. Major flooding, eh? Is there like a lot of rain or something going on? Let me just see if that is what I think it is. It's the Barron Lake Provincial Park, right? Yeah. Are they having flooding in northern BC? Oh, Jonathan, you had an early rise today, right? Okay. Yeah, lakes and hikes. That is where I thought, that is what I thought it was. Stunning countryside over there, eh? I very much hope that you can get that done next year then, with many photos. At my day job, there's a guy from, I think, Nelson, and while we're all working from home, he just went home to his family's like homestead or whatever, halfway up a mountain in BC. It's just such spectacular countryside over there. It's just gorgeous. I haven't been. I mentioned, and in fact, lakes. I wanted to talk to you about this because I sort of grew up partly in Vancouver, partly in Montreal, and I did a lot of up until my adulthood. All my camping, really, aside from like air cadet stuff, happened in British Columbia. We did Golden Ears Park a lot. We did Manning Park. Um, Manning Park was a big one for me. I've told this story a lot, but Manning Park is where I looked down on a subalpine meadow, and the Jesse who I am today sort of just ticked over and started coming into existence. You know, the one who who's in love with the outdoors. Um, all right, see you later, Jonathan. Thanks for stopping by. So yeah, a lot of flooding in BC, eh? Hey, Wanders, how's it going? I'm not on very long. I'm going to be on until like maybe a half hour to an hour. Just because I was supposed to be in karate and Camille's too sick to go. So because it's our thing, I don't really like to go without her. Yeah, so lakes and hikes, I've never actually been there, but I do sort of have a basic idea of where that is. Excuse me. Um, oh, you haven't been to Manning yet? Manning Provincial Park has had a spotted history because it's like so far from everything. It's had a lot of financial troubles. I think the government licensed it off to a private concern at one point. I don't know if I'm remembering this correctly, but then there was anyways, it's open, but it's had some trouble just because there's nothing around it, and it's too bad because it is primo, primo. um, you grew up doing Golden Ears with your friend's dad, yeah. Uh, Golden Ears was that place was pretty central to my upbringing, and you know that's when we would go. My dad, my sister, and I would go like with the worst camping gear known to man, like anything you can buy at Canadian Tire. Our camp knife, at least 2 of those years, was a utility knife, the gray metal that you click and then the little stubby blade comes out. The axe was just some scrappy thing that you bought at Canadian Tire. Just the tarp was one of those like painter's tarps, kind of not the canvas ones, but the blue sort of woven plastic ones. We had a huge one that first thing we'd do when we arrived at the campsite, even before we put up the tent, is we'd string this thing up over half the campsite because, as you know, BC does get a little rainy. So that was our prep. Like wherever the picnic table and the campsite was, or whatever, we'd string it up over that part. Leave the fire pit just outside, obviously, and then put our tent under that. Oh, hay fever. So yeah, that was good memories. Yeah, same with you, eh? Yeah, you want to do Three Brothers Mountain in Manning? I haven't done it. When we were doing all that camping and stuff, I was in the throes of self-centered teenagehood, eh? So I don't feel that I really connected with what we were doing enough. Not enough to make a difference, really. And it was just like when I say that minute at Manning, looking down on that meadow, sort of started me down the road to being an absolute worshiper of nature. It didn't it wasn't like it was no thunderbolt from the blue. Something sort of went click, but I didn't know what it was yet, and it just sort of slowly grew. So even that weekend, I feel that I didn't connect enough with what I was experiencing. I was much more in touch with the sexy alto voice of the park ranger who was giving us the tour. She was, sort of mid-20s or whatever. Just she was a biologist, just finished school, working at the park, sort of as when I say just finished school, I mean just out of university. I have no recollection of what she looks like, but I do have a vague recollection of her voice still. Anyways, it was just funny. But But like, I don't remember where else we might have camped out in BC. I don't remember a lot from my younger life. Um, but like, one of the benefits of living in North Vancouver was, you could always hit Grouse Mountain. Not necessarily to camp, but you could always at least get a little hike in. Or near where my dad lived, was where Lynn Canyon was. Before, like, everything is all fenced off now, but back then you could still fall off the edge and kill yourself with ease. But a just beautiful little piece of land there, you know. Uh, you don't blame me for that. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, brother. I think we so some things are nearly universal, right? Um, yeah, in some ways those were good days, So I didn't know anything, and I didn't kind of care about anything. But even back then, standing surrounded by a bunch of cedars, the smell of it still did me some good. Like, do you get out a lot? Like, are you one of these lucky folks who can get out like almost every week kind of thing, or are you a bit more like me, sort of get out when you can and hope for the best? And while we're at it, Wanders, how's things with you these days? You did it in 53 minutes. I'm just going back to in 53, like the gross grind kind of thing. Um, yeah, Wanders. Whoa, what are you doing these days? Wow, like 60 to 70 hours per week. Oh my land, what do you do if it's not to if it's not to what do you call it? If it's not digging too deep or anything, what do you do? My day job, as many of the people who watch me a lot know, is I'm a tech writer for a company that shall remain nameless. Oh yeah, okay. So you pack up the hours so that you can get a nice a 5-day weekend kind of thing, or I mean a 3-day weekend kind of thing, or for an extra day or so here or there. Yeah, that's legit. What I've discovered is your standard weekend is not long enough for a real good camping trip. To get any to really sort of situate yourself, you need like 4 or 5 days at least. The longer the better. You sort of head out on a Friday night, you come back Sunday night, and it's like that was not long enough. Winders, you're still in police work? It's probably pretty busy time for you down there right now. Hey, Tyler. Tyler. We're talking about nothing, man. This is like a Seinfeld episode. Seinfeld episode. It's all about nothing. Lakes, 2 jobs. Yikes. Warehouse manager and a freelance programmer. Okay. Are you sort of trying to transition from one to the other? So you're sort of in the uncomfortable middle spot right now? I'm not a programmer, and I have very little experience with programming. Many years ago, I wrote a small word processor in Objective C, which at that point was the the language that Apple was using for Mac OS apps, because that was what Next Step had used. And the current Mac OS is the product of Apple buying Next Computer. And Next Step was a very good operating system for its time. The computers like Next Cubes and stuff were unbelievably expensive, but they weren't sold as personal computers. They were more workstation class Unix machines. But yeah, so I wrote a word processor just to sort of just out of curiosity. I keep meaning to do something similar again. Curiosity. Apple's current programming language, I don't know if it's for Macs or just for the iOS devices, is called Swift. I figured I would try it out just to see what it's all about. I feel that having a little bit of knowledge makes my job as a tech writer a little bit not easier, but it gives me a better foundation to speak from when there's a conversation happening with all the code cowboys. Tyler's chowing down on the popcorn. Nice. Wonders it's okay. Yeah, Tampa. I can imagine Tampa's been pretty rough. I've heard that. Lakes and Hex. Yeah, so you're stuck. You're sort of in that in between spot. Yeah, like so not many people do sort of program on that side of the equation. Yes, tech writing is very, very hard. Um it's taking all the writing training that I got in university and throwing it out the window. It's the opposite of everything that makes a good writer in terms of, fiction, prose, poetry, all that stuff, journalism, marketing. It's the opposite of all that. And so, having spent 20 odd years as a freelancer in editorial and marketing and all that, the transition to tech writing was very difficult. Very, very difficult. Tea is a good drink. Tyler, what's up with you today? What's going on? What's the good news, as they say? They do still say that, right? What's the good news? It's a silly thing to say. Just seeing that I'm not getting behind here. No, we're good. As I said, I'm not hanging out for like 2 hours this time. It's an hour, and it's going to be like a half hour to an hour. Yeah, man, Lakes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You get worn out and you don't want to write for yourself either. I have all kinds of unfinished books and stuff just sitting there that I know I'm just not going to get to. Maybe once I retire, if I can retire, but it was the same when I was working in magazines, though. I get home and I was like, I'm not writing. Not writing for myself. I spent all day writing. I spent all day editing. I spent all day doing this. I'm playing a video game, or I'm playing bass, or I'm watching a movie, or I'm anything but writing. Funny thing, eh? But that's just the way it is. I mean, you get kind of not burnt out, but you get tired of it after you spend 8-9 hours a day doing it. You say, I get paid to do this. I'm not doing this right now. I'm on my own time. Now, I just thought of something. My girl's birthday is coming up, and most of you guys know that I made her that knife, and I have to make a sheath for it. I just realized I'm not live streaming while everyone's asleep right at this time, so I better make sure I speak more quietly. But I better get my ass in gear on that sheath, which means I better learn how to do a sheath and then do a sheath. I'll watch a bunch of videos later tonight, and then I'll get started. It's funny. I shot an entire video weeks ago saying exactly that and showing off like the leatherwork stuff that I had, and not polishing off, but having a couple of drams from a very good bottle of scotch. And these days, I'm shooting my vids on this thing because it's a 4K camera, and my big camera here is not. Before we got COVIDed up the wazoo, I thought I was gonna like rocket into many subs this year and get remonetized, and I'd have more people on my Patreon, and I was going to upgrade from this to the 90D because the 90D does shoot in 4K. And for me, the 4K is the most important thing, not because I want to put a video out in 4K, because I don't, but because you guys know in my videos when I'm talking and then suddenly, like it zooms in. Well, I call that punching in, then punching back out. The reason I want to do 4K is because I can do that without losing the sharpness. Whereas when I'm shooting in 1080, I can only punch in a little bit before it starts to look fuzzy, and I haven't been very happy with the results. Why am I talking about this? Oh yeah. Now here's the problem. So I shot this entire video, but I'm aiming these cameras at myself rather than being smart and just using this camera so I could see myself, right? So what that means is I've set it up and I'm like trying to stab at the button on the back to like here. So essentially what I do, okay, is let's dull the screen down a whole lot so you can see what I'm talking about. So I set it up whereby I'm aiming at myself and then I sort of, wait, is that video? No. Okay. Now it's on video. Okay. So then I will aim it at myself and put it on a tripod, whatever, and then I'll hit this button here. Whoops. Easier said than done. Am I recording? No. Come on, man. There. Now I'm recording myself. Okay. But right next to that recording button, you can also accidentally, hold on a second here. Tabernacle. Oh, that's not a nice word. All these words here are, you sort of go back and forth between video, photo, slow motion, and panoramic. And I shot that entire video in slow motion. So obviously I just scrapped it. So maybe I'll reshoot that. Would you guys want to see it? It's just like a rundown of the stuff I got. And so I was like, okay, so now how do I get this stuff to work? What do you think? Should I reshoot that this week? You guys want to see that? See my cheapo leather stuff? Because I'll make it if, and then of course I'll shoot the process of making the sheath, obviously, because I mean my first sheath, of course I want the record. Should you record it making it? Yes, absolutely. But I've done that a couple of times lately, because at the end of the day, these are very good cameras, and this has a lot of space on it. But it's not the same as having one of these, right? This is much easier to like make sure that because of the flippy screen and everything, buttons are very well placed and everything. This is a shooting machine. This is a phone. Okay. And the interface on these is going to eventually make these guys change their interfaces and everything. But at the end of the day, the physical button being right here so that I can have the screen open, see myself and hit the button and record and know that I'm not doing slow motion or I'm not like, just in the lower quarter of the screen or anything. That's worth real money. That's win. Whereas when I'm aiming this at myself and I'm trying to, it's just frustration. And I've blown three videos so far this year because of that. Tyler says all his leather work is on cheap ass tools because it's a trade where it simply ain't the tools. Yeah, that's true. And the tools I have are cheapo. One thing I would have to do is really dial in my sharpening for the what's it called, a skiving knife or something. Because the one thing about cheap tools is they don't come shaving sharp. Are you guys hearing that? That's a baby. Lakes would watch it. That's good. I like it. Maybe I'll do it. Yeah. Oh, even Tyler says to do it. Yeah. Okay. I'll shoot that. Maybe I don't know when. I don't know. I haven't shot something for this upcoming Friday yet. Maybe I'll do that and try to edit it. Man, Friday's coming up fast. Okay. Yeah. I've still got some time. It's 7:22. Just sort of making sure that Um, hey, Serge's here. Yeah, you missed the stream last night, Holmes. This is a totally unplanned stream. I'm not going to be on that long. Like maybe 8 o'clock, the latest. Maybe a quarter to 8. Completely depends on how things are going upstairs. Hey, Quebec's homestead visit, Mallory. You were here? How long were you here for? You didn't even tell me you were here. Damn you, man! Damn you, Mallory. I saw that latest video. Your last your last French video on that channel. I'm excited for that new phase of yours, man. I think it's going to be great. I'm very, very, very excited for that phase. See you later, Mallory. For those of you who are not Mallory, if you guys wouldn't mind hitting that like button for me, that would be really good. I'm trying to really game the algorithm because I want to hit 3,000 subs soon, and I am very close to that 4,000 hours. That will get me remonetized. Tea's a good drink. Skiving knives are okay, but a straight blade can be used. I don't even know if skiving knife is the right. Bye, Mallory. Everyone say bye to get back homestead. I don't even know if skiving knife is the word for the knife that I have. Yeah, as part of, like I got one of those kits off of Amazon, right? Straight from, Shenzhen or something. So there's a lot of stuff there that looks like it's going to be very, very useful and very workable. I just have to, maybe tune up the blades a little bit, sharpen them up, strop them up, and I think it'll be good enough to work with. I see no reason. I'm not going to be a professional leather maker. That's not in my plan. So I don't feel that I need to throw epic money at something like that. I bought a very, very cheap kit. And I bought a saddle stitch, a stitching pony. But I sent that back because when it arrived, it was garbage. Hi, Grace. How's it going? I'm not on for much longer, Grace, because got to get that baby in bed. But yeah, I knew that Tyler did some leather work. Sales, your brother has some. Maybe I should be FaceTiming Tyler at some point when I'm about to do this or something. Oh, nice work on that exam, Serge. I like it. So what's class 2 then? Is that like big trucks? Because wait, class 5 is cars and like box trucks, right? What's class 6? I can never remember what all the classes are because I'm not interested enough in what in that kind of stuff to really stay on top of it. I usually have Simone around to know everything. Do a deep dive on something that I just Simone, you figure it out and let me know. I'm not interested enough to do the deep dive, So good. It's not the same as beer. This is not a Beer Blades and Bushcraft live stream. Hey, Austin. There's not much shaking. I was supposed to be at karate tonight. Ended up with the hour off. I'm just going to be on until about 8, and then I'm going to put the baby to bed. Oh, I see. Okay. So class 2 is basically buses. All right. What's shaking with you, Austin? Hey, Serge, how are you liking that new Mac of yours? How's that treating you? Is it a big bump up from the last one, the old Mini? Well, class 6 is motorcycles. That's right. I'm just going to drop a text to the madame. That's okay. I'm not going to do that. Yeah, Grace, I figured that's what was happening there. T tears and timeouts. T tears and timeouts. Tears, definitely tears. It's a tragic life we're living. It's a tragic time. The tears are flowing. The salty, the writing poetry to deal with the pain. Yes, tea and tears and timeouts. Yes. Austin, you just walked in from a very long day at work. Yeah, I've been having a few long days as well. Camille is at a wilderness, no, an outdoors summer day camp right now, which gets her out of the house, which is definitely better for her than things have been. As some of you guys know, that we're not even getting, we weren't even getting along for a while there because we were both just cabin fevering the crap out of each other. But so I'm getting a lot more done every day at work. I mean, I'm essential services, but I work from home. But man, this these times we're living in are really really tough to see in. I don't know if that's really clear enough, but like, I mean, see in that, like, it's tough to not feel buried, you know? So yeah, I've had a bunch of really long days lately. Hey, Hike with Mike, how's it going? I'm just taking a look. Sales says it's a massive bump up from his old machine, I can well imagine. Tyler's luthier friends make their knives from bandsaw blades and maple chunks. I know someone who's in luthier school right now. They spent a lot of money on her tools. Oh, Austin, you're back at the office. Interesting. Man, it must be nice to be the only one in the office, though. I feel that in a full office, it can be really hard to get some work done sometimes because there's always someone coming to lean on your desk and like, how does this work? Or have you ever done this? Or what did you do this weekend or whatever? And I'm I'm as guilty of that as anyone else. Absolutely. The Quebec government has announced that companies can start opening their offices if they want to, but only at 25% capacity, starting like now. Interesting. Because I was going to ask the same thing as Serge asked about bandsaw blades. Because I mean, I've got bandsaw blades, but I've got like home hobby sized bandsaw blades, right? I don't have like one of those big honking floor standing bandsaws. Though one of those would be good. Austin says, all of our burdens, both family and work, all seem to rest with us in your home. Lack of separation between the two is yep, absolutely. You're not alone, brother. You're not alone. It's been very, very difficult. And I'm not saying that, poor me. I'm saying it's a statement of fact, and it's a fact that is true for many, many people. I get that. And, I do not feel that my position is worse than the next person over's. It's just I'm the one living my situation, I think every now and again you should be allowed to just take an evening and feel sorry for yourself. After that, sort of, okay, pick it up and go. Remember, everyone's living their own private hell. Everyone around you is having a rough time right now. But I think every now and again, take some time out, open a bottle of scotch or something, have a little dram or whatever, or a cup of coffee or a hot chocolate or whatever, and just wallow in it. Just tonight is my night to feel like shit. Like watch a sad movie or something. I don't know. Just wallow in it. And then sort of pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and get back on with it. That's very workable, in my opinion. Very, very workable. Yeah, what Hike with Mike says here is important, and it's a big factor in why I've been feeling so crappy. I don't like to do work stuff at home. I always go to my place of work to get stuff done, and home is my time. Absolutely. And because especially because for me, having an office to work at is, excuse me, a fairly recent event. Okay. I've only been out of the freelance world for what, 3 years ish, 3 or 4, about three. And when I was working from home all the time or cafes or whatever as a freelancer, I would just work late into the night. I would spend all day and then work late into the night. Or sometimes I'd forget to eat lunch or, all these things. And I have had to work very hard not to fall back into that. You know, lunchtime, I'm taking an hour. I'm making lunch for the kids because let's not forget that. Or I'm going to run an errand or whatever and just sort of try to keep my day as parceled as it tends to be when you are going to the office, you know. Um, yeah, Austin, you know it. You know it. Whoops. Right? I feel what you feel. Don't let it don't let it run your mind or defeat you, but sitting down and saying this is shit is okay. Absolutely. Tenenbaum, nice to see you. You had a late night last night, as usual. Um, I don't know, man. When Tenenbaum is hanging out with us, it's like by the time we get off, it's running headlong at 5 in the morning for him. I don't know how you do it, man. When I was in my 20s, I could do that and bounce back at like 8 a.m. for class and be like, no problem. But now that I'm like 2 years from 50, forget about it. I feel sick. I feel sick. Serge, as soon as the COVID thing gives us a break or there's a vaccine or something, we got to hit St. Christian with our tents and spend an overnighter. And let's make that a tentative plan for whenever the hell the world gives us a break. It's going to happen at some point. Camille made me this drawing at camp. That's a girl who does enjoy the outdoors. I'm going to stick it up on the wall somewhere, maybe here. I don't know. Somewhere is. It's funny, because my parents never made me go to camp or anything, right? I was allowed to be bad at math. I was allowed to not be good at anything physical like sports. I was allowed to just sit there and read, hippie parents and everything. And I have questions about them letting me grow up that way. Like if I decided I wasn't going to camp, then they wouldn't force me to go to camp. And I wish I had gone to more camps. I wish I had been forced to do soccer or something. I very much wish that I'd been forced to get good at math. And so my approach to being Camille's parent is to be a lot more hands-on with stuff like that. Not to force, not to force, but to tell her that you need this in terms of math or whatever, or okay, I will take the karate classes with you if it means you'll go, or just making sure that she reaches out and has these experiences, And part of that is this day camp she's going to it's an outdoors camp. They've trimmed back the program for COVID. When we're not living in a pandemic, part of the camp is they're going fishing tomorrow, but that was supposed to be canceled due to COVID. And they do like a weekend camp out, and they're constantly in. The camp happens at Parc Nature de Liesse or whatever the hell it's called, where we've shot some of our videos. And so they're outside the whole damn time. They're looking at plants. They're learning about this and that. And man, I wish that camp was there when I was a kid. And that my parents could have the money to send me. This is like, I'm putting her in all this stuff, and she doesn't realize how lucky she is to have it. And she thinks this stuff is fun and everything, but she doesn't get the wonder at what we have available to us the way I do. You know, Hike with Mike says it rained most of the day today. You took Muskrat Jim's advice and sharpened and oiled your knives. I'm slowly becoming the person who does that. Like if, I can't do X today or Y or Z, I may as well sharpen my chisels or my knives or my axes, oil everything up. And you may as well. It's worth it to have tools that are well cared for. Hey, up north the 60s around again. It was fabulous having you on last night, by the way. I was not clear enough about that last night. One day I will buy that mic that you've got. And then we can do like a podcast and sound like gods together. Lakes doesn't have kids, but he agrees. Yeah, it's just like, because you don't want your kid to be one of those who is fine with everything up until they need to put a little effort in, because that's not a winning way to see the world. And Camille's a little bit like that as it is. And so I'm constantly sort of, no, you wanted this. Now that it's getting hard, you're still going to do it, kind of thing. What time are we at? It's 1939. I was going to say something and it's just gone. It is just gone. Oh, well. It was going to be fabulous. It was going to be brilliant and hilarious. That I can guarantee you of that. But anyways. Oh, it's hot. All right, guys. I think I'm going to go and help out with putting the baby to bed. The wifeling got little hand surgery last week, so I've been pulling double duty because it's tough to live when when your main hand is immobile. So I'm going to go and give her a hand. Thanks for hanging out with me on this totally impromptu little live stream. And I hope to see you guys all next Tuesday. So until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay sane. See you guys later.